Hey there, welcome to a fun imaginary lesson with me, Artsy Rose. Today we are going to be drawing a fairy house. And I know for a while my daughter was really intrigued by the whole concept of fairies and little things. She really liked that for a long time. And so when I was brainstorming some projects to do with you guys, I thought, that could be fun. And we go on walks every night, and I've been noticing the little mushrooms popping up in people's yards. And I was kind of like, okay. So how about I draw, you draw. Just a fun little fairy house type concept. So adults, here's some things that you're going to want to grab. And of course, this would be such a fun project for you just to take yourself down memory lane. And then if you love it, share it with your kids, right? So some items that you would want to grab is something to draw on, like copy paper, something to draw with, pencil, that way if we mess up we can erase, and of course something to color with, markers, crayons, color pencils, oil pastels, anything like that. Now you guys know that I super duper love oil pastels, but I may keep it kind of simple today and do a multimedia piece where I use a little of this and a little of that. And of course, this could be a painting too. Why not? If you like to paint, why not paint a fairy house? Definitely use your imagination, and I'm here to guide you and give you suggestions along the way, but you can tweak it. Go rogue. Do your own thing. That's what I always encourage people to do, is just kind of get that idea and creativity flowing and then just go with it. And so, remember, you are your own special artist, and your kids are their own special artist, okay? I'm going to start with Sharpie. That way you can see what I'm doing. You start with pencil, please, unless you're just super confident in yourself. My fairy house is going to be two parts. We have the roof, and then we have the house part. So here's what I'm going to do. I am going to start with the roof, and I know I only want to go down about that far, so just to kind of remind myself, I put a little tiny dot there. You can't even see it on the screen, but I put just a little tiny dot there. Now my roof, like I said, is going to be this is the shape of a mushroom, so my roof is going to be curved, right? Okay, and then from here we will curve down and then do a little flip out. Our house is symmetrical. That means that it is the same on both sides. So if I were to draw a line down the middle, it's going to be the same or similar on both sides. It's kind of taking on the feel of a bell right now. Now to connect, I'm going to do just a little bit of a frowny face curve, just a smidge, not much. And then we'll come in. And we'll come in just like that. Oop. Okay. And then from here, we are going to draw a, it's going to be like a lazy diagonal, lazy curve. So it kind of curves in and then flips back out. Same thing on this side, curve in, flip back out, just like that. Now we're going to connect with a curve at the top and a curve at the bottom. And they're just a slight curve. So see, it takes on a very mushroom feel. Now your fairy house does not have to. Of course, your fairy house can take on whatever feel you want. Now, right here, I am going to do some lines all the way across, just like that. And then, of course, my house has to have a door, right? I am going to have a couple of steps walking up or stepping up to my door, okay? So they look like rectangles, just like that. Now from here, I am going to do, and you could do a rectangle door, you could do a curved door, you could do a heart-shaped door. This is your art. Just go with it, right? So I am going to do a curved or an arched door. So I'm going to do a double curve line. And then of course we need a doorknob so we can get in. And maybe your door has a window, so horizontal, curve, vertical, horizontal. And then we need some windows. We got to be able to see into our house, right? So maybe we'll make some little window sills. And then we need our window. Now, since I'm making a symmetrical house, what I do on the left, I need to do very similar on the right. There we go. And then right here at the top, you could do like one long window, you could do multiple little windows, you could do curved windows. It's really whatever feel you want to take on. Maybe I'll do 2. And of course, it's super duper hard to make them exactly the same. So, you know, just try to match them. That's all we can do is try our best. There we go. Now, I feel like this could ultimately be like, this is 1 story, 2 stories. So what if we had a 3rd and maybe even a 4th story? But just to kind of keep the feel of it being fairy-like and very imaginary-like, what if we did curve, 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 curve all the way around so that it looks sort of like a flower? And now it kind of looks like eyes, doesn't it? That's okay. Vertical, horizontal, vertical, horizontal. And then maybe one more way up here high. Just like that. Okay? So now we have our fairy house built. Super fun. There we go. Maybe put some little leaves. Here. OMG. I could see some girly girls loving this project. Okay. So now we're going to do a ground line. We have to ground it, right? Because we don't want it to look like it's floating in the air. We also want it to look small. So what if we did like a really big flower to show perspective? This shows how small this house is. So I'm going to do a smiley face curve, 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 curve. Now yours may not go off the paper. I tend to draw really big just because I like my drawings to be really big. I like them to fill up the whole paper. I even like when it goes off the paper. Yours may not be as big as mine, and that is okay. To each their own. Kind of curve, curve, curve. So I've got some little tulips going on. Maybe I've got another one here, 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 here. There we go. And we need another stem and some more leaves. Just like that, maybe? Okay, so now it really feels like this house is small, even though we drew it on our paper, because we have these really big tulips kind of growing up around it. And it's like our little fairy house is in the garden. Maybe we have a little rock path kind of leading up to the fairy house. Okay, So that, my friends, is my super fun, creative fairy house. Of course, you could have done whatever kind of flowers you wanted, whatever kind of design on your house, whatever shape of house you want. Really, it's just the inspiration and going from there. So now you need to decide, how am I going to go about coloring? I think I might do my house with markers and my background with crayon. Number one, because there's a lot of big chunks of color in the background, so it'd be easier to color with crayon. And then number two, by doing marker on the fairy house, it's going to make it pop and stand out. And then by doing crayon on the background, it'll help it kind of recede into the background, so that way you have some perspective. So what if we did like a yellow top? Now, anytime I'm doing markers, if I'm coloring a bigger space, I use the whole side of the tip of the marker, not just the point. And I try to color in lines or rows, however you want to think of that. There we go. So we get all of that colored in, just like that. Now, I do have a video on what to do with your markers if they run out. So say your video or your markers start to run out of ink on you, I have a video on how to turn them into paints. So you'll have to check that out. How to turn your markers into watercolor paints. Now, I think I'm going to do a pattern on the underside. So I might do yellow on every other one. So that way I can do an A-B pattern. Now, I'm going to use orange on my pattern, just like that. Anytime we're coloring with markers, kind of the slower and more back and forth motion you can do with your markers, the better, because they're gonna work better on the paper. The bottom half of my house, maybe the bottom half is orange, since I put those colors in my pattern. Like that. So now you could totally, parents, after they finish their art, or adults, after they finish their art or you finish your art, you could think of a story to go along with your fairy house, right? Anytime you can encourage literacy and tie it in with art is better, I think, because those friends that really love to do art are going to be inspired, like their creativity is just automatically working from doing art in the first place. And then what tends to happen is their brains will go towards making up a story as they're drawing and coloring, just because that's kind of how our brains normally progress. If they're very imaginative type people. So encourage a story, right? Like, where is this fairy house? And who lives here? And what do they do? And what is their job? Or what are their magic powers? You know, so think this could be such a fun opportunity to encourage some literacy. If they can't write yet, then have them like tell their story and record it. How fun would it be to go back and watch those years down the road, you know, watch those recordings. My husband is so good about recording like everything, you know, just totally random stuff. And so one day we'll be super appreciative because we'll have all these videos of the kids and ourselves in our younger days. Okay. I'm adding brown for my windowsills, and the door is going to be brown. And I'm thinking I may actually, I don't know on my windows yet. Do I color them blue? Do I color them yellow like the lights are on? You know, so you got to think about these things. Okay, I might have gray steps, right, leading up to the house, and my little walkway might be gray. And I am coloring that in with kind of curvy lines, like swirl my marker as I color, so that it kind of makes it feel like it's a little curved. And then, you know what, just to stick with the yellow theme, what if I did some yellow around the door? Just like that. And these flowers, we could do like a purple flower. You could do them all the same, you could do them different. Go slow, take your time. There's no rush when it comes to coloring. You could do the best job drawing and then rush your coloring, and then your drawing doesn't look good anymore. So that's one thing to think about. Maybe I'll just do them all the same. Do them all purple. So what is your favorite thing to color with? You could totally leave that in the comments below. Maybe you like using something that I don't think about using. If I was at my studio, I would have a lot more options to choose from. For example, I love construction paper crayons. They just color differently and they look different on paper. I really like color sticks, which are woodless color pencils. I like Crayola products, I think, just because they're super kid friendly and washable and cost efficient. So I use a lot of Crayola products, and they have a lot of neat products out there. Okay, of course, we'll probably do green leaves. Why not? There we go. There we go. Okay, oh, now, windows. I'm hesitant to do yellow because I did so much yellow everywhere, like on the roof. Maybe I'll just use my really light blue crayon and just do light blue in the windows. That's the cool thing about art, is honestly there's so many different ways to do things that there's not a wrong way. So say I didn't love what happened, well, you know what, that's okay. You figure it out as you go. Art is about experimenting and trying new things and accepting new things and just trying to kind of learn how to go with the flow. And then when you do experiment and try new things and they turn out awesome, it's like super gratifying. Okay, so blue windows works. Now I am going to do some green grass. And I am using like a yellow green, and I'm using crayons just because this is a really big space. I mean, it's not a really big space, but it is kind of a big space just to be coloring with one color. So that's why I like to use crayons for that. Or color sticks are super awesome. With the woodless color pencils I was talking about, those are great for big spaces too. They kind of color like crayons. Oil pastels are obviously great for big spaces too. Okay. While I have my green, I'll go ahead and color my stems. Just being honest, my big green disappeared. I mean, my regular green disappeared. No clue where it is. It's probably time to order some more supplies. Or I probably used it for something, doing because my red's missing too, so maybe I did like a Christmas project and didn't put the crayons back where they belong. You'll find that happens a lot with artists or artist-like minded people. Okay, and then there is this really pretty, is it red violet? No, it's, do I have 2 red violets? Interesting, 2 red violets and no red. Okay, so this is kind of a fun color. I like that. Try to color with the curve of whatever you're coloring. So since my flower petals curve a little on the edges, I'll follow the curve. There we go. Try really hard to stay inside the lines. Even though sometimes that can be tricky with crayons because they're a little chunkier. If you are coloring a smaller space, you might think about using colored pencil, because then of course that will help you stay in a smaller space. So I asked what your favorite art supplies were. Hopefully you left me a comment about that. Maybe I can get some new ideas. But also, what is your favorite thing, like your favorite subject to draw or color? Is it, you know, outdoorsy landscape things? Is it animals? Is it people? You know, leave me comments about that. What's your favorite thing to draw? If you were just going to sit down and draw right now, what do you gravitate towards? I think I gravitate towards animals quite a bit. I just like animals. They make me happy. And I gravitate towards like not super realistic, more almost cartoony type drawing. Just because there's more wiggle room when it comes to those types of things. They don't have to be like exactly perfect, which is the style I like, not exactly perfect, right? Okay. All right. Get this all colored in. And next we can move on to a fun story, right? Start thinking about a fun story and writing it or acting it out. I really enjoy doing this project with you guys. I hope that you will do all that fun social media stuff. Like this channel or subscribe to the channel. Like the video. Share. Spread the word about Artsy Rose. You know, just push my passion out there to the world. So thank you guys so much for watching this video all the way through to the end. I really appreciate you, and make sure to leave those comments down below, and check out the supplies I like to use. You might enjoy using them yourself. Thanks so much for hanging out with me, and I cannot wait to do some more art with you.